Hey everyone, I'm back to bring you the top games coming out this week. There are hundreds of games coming out, and I whittled that down to about 30 games that I wanted to talk about. I couldn't really do 30 games in one video, so this is just my top 10. Let me know in the comments if you want to hear about the other games like Bubble Bobble 4, Hot Wheels Unleashed, and The Last Juggler. As usual, these are PC games on Steam, but many are also out on PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch, so look out for other platforms on screen. Check the description for links, and as always, if this video leads you to wishlist the game, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and slap the bell so you know about the next video. As for the top 10, here's what's on deck. Number 10. Industria. Industria is set in a German city just before the fall of the Berlin Wall. You play as Nora, who is searching for her lost colleague in an alternate dimension. In this dimension, the city appears to be abandoned. Vegetation has overtaken the gorgeous northern European architecture, and the locale is inhabited only by hostile robots. The robots make up various unique enemy types. The hounds leverage their pack behavior to stalk and corner you. The optic keeps you pinned down with machine gun fire. Another robot charges straight at you, and I'm sure there's others that we've yet to see. This variety seems like it can lead to some uniquely designed encounters that require thinking on your feet in order to survive. I'm optimistic about these combat scenarios, but I'm more intrigued by the mysterious narrative at play. The designers are candid about their inspirations ranging from Half-Life 2 and BioShock to the works of David Lynch. With inspirations like that, I can't wait to see what's in store for this short, mysterious action title, out on Thursday. Number 9. Steel Assault. Steel Assault is a retro action platformer turned modern that wears its inspiration on its sleeves. Back when it was in the Kickstarter phase, it had 8-bit style pixel art. Since then, it's been picked up by Tribute Games, the excellent publisher responsible for bringing us Panzer Paladin, and soon the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles beat 'em up. I suppose it was only right then that Steel Assault get an upgrade to 16-bit style pixel art. The energetic soundtrack is epic and appears to accompany the white-knuckle platforming well. The revenge story is as basic as those of those era. You play as a resistance fighter whose parents were murdered by a dictator driven by bloodlust. The movement mechanics though look modernized and right at home in our current era. You've got a jump, double jump, electric whip, zip line, and dodge slide. You'll need these options as you'll have to be nimble to dodge the projectiles and incoming attacks. The zip line can also serve as a bridge between platforms and is even shown as saving you from certain death in the trailer. Fight the Establishment this Tuesday on Steam and Switch. Number 8. Melty Blood Type Lumina. Melty Blood is a 2D fighter series known for its glorious and balletic aerial battles. The games are balanced in such a way to encourage players to take their fisticuffs to the skies. Aerial attacks are stronger and safer, while remaining grounded leaves you vulnerable. For that reason, it remains a popular series to spectate in fighting game circles, even if it remains more niche to the uninitiated. Melty Blood Type Lumina, then, is looking to keep its roots but branch into the mainstream. It streamlines your combat options while maintaining a focus on what makes it unique. The hand-drawn sprites look better than ever, and are a bit of a welcome return given that most fighting games have transitioned to 3D graphics. This is also the first game with rollback netcode for developer Frenchbread, furthering the excitement of the fighting game community who hopes to see more competition in its ranks. Get your friends wrecked on all platforms this Thursday. Number 7. Lemnis Gate. I haven't been this excited for an online PvP shooter in a long time. Lemnis Gate is an extremely clever hybrid of first-person shooter with turn-based strategy. Each match is either 1v1 or 2v2. That's it, a max of 4 players facing off. The battlefield begins empty and you begin your turn by selecting one of 7 operatives. Each of these operatives plays differently, has unique weapons, and can only be selected once per match. Once selected, you have 25 seconds to carry out your tasks in real time, move around, set traps, and collect capture points. Then the time loop begins anew, and it's your opponent's turn. They get the same 25 seconds you did to run their tasks, except they are layering on top of the actions that you already took. They can use their 25 seconds to kill your operative, for example, leaving you with the option to use your next turn to kill their operative before they kill your original operative and disrupt the timeline. As you can see, the complexity can ramp up rather quickly. On top of the ingenuity at play, something I love about this idea is that you don't need a lot of concurrent users to expect a good online experience. Just a few other people, even one other person, is enough. Looking forward to disrupting space-time continuity on Tuesday. Number 6. Astria Ascending. 2021 has been a landmark year for JRPGs. Early impressions indicate that Astria Ascending will keep the streak going. While most Japanese RPGs today have some form of real-time combat, it's somewhat ironic that a French studio is keeping with the turn-based tradition. That said, they have found plenty of novelty to imbue in this style of combat. You can swap out characters nearly at will, and in fact will often need to in order to keep up with the assault from your opponents. This encouragement to keep a healthy lineup on the floor at all times allows you to have a more balanced cast as opposed to finding yourself needing to manage underleveled characters. Also surprising for a French studio is that they've partnered with Japanese legends. The score is composed by Hitoshi Sakamoto, responsible for the scores of Vagrant Story and Final Fantasy XII. In addition, the story has been written by Kazushige Nojima, who was a writer on Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy VII Remake. The story, in fact, seems beautifully fantastical. You take the role of 8 fated demigods, whose destiny it will be to take on 12 ancient beasts. Thankfully, this fantastical setting and epic soundtrack is accompanied by gorgeous 4K hand-drawn visuals. The thing that has me most interested in this, actually, is the hexagonal token game. It looks reminiscent of Triple Triad from Final Fantasy VIII. You collect tokens for use in head-to-head games that can be played with various characters around the world. Overall, this game looks to clock in at 30 to 50 hours, which I think will be plenty for those enjoying an embarrassment of riches this year. Look out for it on Thursday. Number 5. Aeon Drive. If you're into speed-based platformers like I am, this is absolutely your jam. Aeon Drive's mechanics look like they'll encourage you to replay the same level over and over again to gain a little time on your PB or to best your friend on the leaderboard. There's this dagger you can shoot onto a wall to teleport to. This will let you avoid hazards, get through barriers that are otherwise uncrossable, or even just save a little time that it would normally take to get from point A to point B. There's over 100 levels and each level has multiple routes, so there's opportunity for player expression. There's also local and online co-op and PvP, the latter in the form of races. Aeon Drive is a successor to the overlooked but innovative shmup Dimension Drive. They both star the same protagonist, and while the story feels like well-tread ground, the studio does a good job of presenting its narrative with gorgeous pixel art cutscenes. If you want to get your blood pumping, check out Aeon Drive, out on Thursday. Number 4. Bonfire Peaks. Bonfire Peaks is the latest logic puzzle game brought to us by Draknek and Friends. They've really made a name for themselves in this genre with titles like Sokoban, A Good Snowman is Hard to Build, and most recently the extremely well-received A Monsters Expedition. This time around, they are stepping into the role of publisher. This particular puzzler feels in line with the likes of Steven's Sausage Roll, where you're tasked with navigating tight spaces to get your goods to their stated goals. That is, your belongings to the bonfire that will burn them. Given the goal of burning your belongings and a quiet campfire atmosphere, this feels like a very contemplative experience. Perhaps an experience meant to make you question the value of things you inherently hold dear, or meant to stand as a metaphor for starting fresh. The puzzles are broken up into levels, and more often than not you'll have multiple levels available to you, so you rarely have to bang your head against the wall against a single puzzle. The voxel art is some of the best I've seen, and the soundtrack builds on the melancholy mood. Get ready to burn all your earthly belongings this Thursday on PC, PlayStation, and Switch. As we head into the top 3, I want to take a moment to point out that there have been some surprise releases and other games that I missed. On screen now is the Castlevania Advance Collection that I'm sure most of you have heard of by now. There was also the HD remake of ActRaiser Renaissance, which dropped seemingly out of nowhere. If you want me to cover these and other games I missed, let me know in the comments below. And if you've watched this far and not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Smash that button. Now, the top 3. Number 3. Nycra. Would you follow the instructions of a stranger if you woke up with no recollection or recognition of anything, including the world you're on? Can we simultaneously be in control and not? Is free will compatible with the notion that we are all driven by the sum of all things that happen before the very moment we make a choice? Nycra is a cinematic sci-fi adventure that explores this dichotomy of free will. The enigmatic nature of this game is exemplified by the odd glyphs found in a strange world. These tokens of mystery belie one of the designer's core inspirations, Fez. Developer Industria rightfully welcomes the comparison, taking it as a compliment. However, while the palette bears similarities, the brushstrokes are significantly unique. Over the course of an 8-year journey, Industria has taken on all the code, art, music, and design himself. An impressive feat given the quality of what we can see and hear. There's a sort of cyber nature aesthetic with everything from lush flora to bare deserts to cold, steely interiors, all depicted with handsome pixel art. Experience this mind-bending magnum opus for yourself on Monday. Number 2. Death's Gambit Afterlife. Death's Gambit Afterlife is a massive, free expansion coming as a surprise as it was kept under wraps until its announcement just a little over a week ago. The base game is a 2D platforming Souls-like that has received mostly warm reception since it launched 3 years ago. Not settling for good enough, this expansion revamps nearly every system. It rebalances the combat, like giving you more options to cancel an attack and giving you a faster but less effective heal. It adds quality of life features like sorting inventory and streamlining the purchase of multiple items. It completely overhauls the talent system, allowing you to eventually learn talents of other classes as well as advanced tactics, setting yourself up for a richer, new game experience. Between the talents and the weapons, you are afforded more opportunity for player expression. It adds new movement mechanics like double jump and air dash, and then redesigns and expands the entire map to accommodate these methods of traversal. It genuinely feels like no stone has been left unturned in this epic expansion. See for yourself when it comes out on Thursday.
You remember our deal, don't you?
Number 1. Unsighted. In the world of Arcadia, robots are conscious and sentient thanks to a mysterious resource named anima. The anima is beginning to deplete, causing a blight upon those automatons where they become unsighted, transforming them into rabid, murderous machines. Your protagonist, Alma, is one such automaton attempting to save her love and her people. This is the backdrop for the wonderful isometric action RPG developed by Brazilian outfit Studio Pixel Punk. There's a lot to love about this title, but the thing that captured me about its demo is the methodical, crisp combat. You can parry up close or utilize active reloads on ranged weapons. In both scenarios, you're rewarded for risky play. While Unsighted is inspired by Zelda, Metroid, and Dark Souls, it is further inspired by randomizer hacks in games like Zelda. These randomizers shuffle key items, putting them in random places and forcing the player to stretch their knowledge of the game mechanics to find new routes. Unsighted carries some of this DNA in its approach to non-linearity. Multiple ways to find items, multiple shortcuts to exploit, and items serving multiple purposes. All of this means that your route could be very different from that of your friends, and that your experience will remain fresh from run to run. Help Alma keep Arcadia's automatons animated by absconding with anima this Thursday on Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. That's my top 10 for the week. Let me know what you think down below. What did you wishlist? What did I miss? And if you made it to the end, then you might have heard this before. Like and subscribe, slap the bell to get notified, tell your friends it's a vibe, Deck Gang out. Goodbye.